I am Siddhartha Gautama, though many of you know me by another name, the Buddha. My journey, which began as a prince surrounded by unimaginable luxury and ended with the timeless wisdom of enlightenment, is a path that countless seekers have walked in pursuit of liberation. But let me tell my story, not as a myth, but as the man who lived it. I was born in Lumbini, a serene garden under the shade of a Sharia robusta tree. My mother, Queen Maya, dreamt of a white elephant with 6 tusks entering her womb, a vision that foretold my destiny. From my first breath, wise men proclaimed that I would either become a great king or a spiritual teacher who would change the world. My father, King Shuddhodana, was determined to lead me down the first path, protecting me from anything that might provoke spiritual questioning. As a young prince, my life was an opulent mosaic of silk, jewels, and feasts. Palaces were built for each season, servants attended to my every whim, and I even had a beautiful wife, Yashodhara, who gave me a son, Rahula. Yet amidst all this splendor, I felt an inexplicable emptiness, as if the wealth of the world could not quench a deep thirst within my soul. Then came the day that shattered my sheltered existence. On a rare excursion beyond the palace gates, I encountered 4 visions that would alter my life forever. First, I saw an elderly man, his back bent by age, his face marked by wrinkles. Next, I saw a sick man, his body tormented by pain and suffering. Then, a lifeless corpse, a reminder of the inescapable reality of death. Finally, I saw a serene ascetic, a man who had renounced the world and found peace within himself. These visions haunted me. How could I continue living in indulgence when the world was full of suffering? That night, while my family slept, I made the most difficult decision of my life. I left the palace, my wife, my newborn son, and the life of privilege that had defined me. Dressed in simple robes, I ventured into the wilderness, determined to find the answers to life's deepest questions. For years, I wandered, seeking wisdom from sages, practicing severe austerities, and testing the limits of my body and mind. I fasted until my ribs protruded like the strings of a lute, but hunger only brought me closer to death, not to enlightenment. It was then that I realized the futility of extremes. True wisdom, I discovered, lay in the middle way, a path of moderation between indulgence and self-denial. On a fateful night, I sat beneath a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, vowing not to rise until I had uncovered the truth. As I meditated, my mind struggled against doubts, fears, and illusions. Mara, the Lord of Desire, tempted me with visions of pleasure and threatened me with his armies of demons. But I remained steadfast, and with the dawn, the truth was revealed to me. I saw the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, the endless wheel of samsara, driven by desire and ignorance. I understood the 4 noble truths. Life is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire. Suffering can be overcome, and the path to its cessation is the noble eightfold path. In that moment, I became the Buddha, the awakened one. With a renewed clarity, I began my mission to share this wisdom with the world. My first sermon, delivered at the Deer Park in Sarnath, laid the foundations for the Dharma, the universal law that guides all beings toward enlightenment. Over the years, I gathered disciples from all walks of life, kings and beggars, men and women, all drawn by the promise of liberation. I taught not through divine decree, but through simple truths. All that we are is the result of what we have thought, I would say. With our thoughts, we create the world. My lessons emphasized compassion, mindfulness, and the impermanence of all things. I urged my followers to question everything, including my own words, for truth could only be realized through personal experience. Even as I aged, my determination never wavered. At the age of 80, I fell gravely ill after consuming a meal offered with the purest intentions. Knowing that my time was near, I gathered my disciples and gave my final teaching. All things that are born must die. Strive on with diligence. These words became the legacy I left behind. While my physical form passed away, my teachings continued to guide countless individuals toward awakening. My life was a testament to the potential for transformation within each person, regardless of their origins. The message I imparted was not just a spiritual teaching, but a call to action. It was a challenge to each individual to examine their own desires, attachments, and fears, to recognize the impermanence of all things, and to strive for a life of compassion, wisdom, and serenity. Through this practice, we come closer to realizing our true nature, free from the illusions that bind us. And as we walk the path, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of kindness, peace, and enlightenment that spreads through the world. As I sat under the Bodhi tree, my mind cleared, and the deep understanding of the nature of existence came to me in a moment of profound realization. I understood that suffering is an intrinsic part of life, yet it is not something we are helpless against. The root cause of suffering is desire, the endless craving that binds us to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It was clear that through understanding and releasing this craving, one could find true liberation. This insight is what would come to be known as the Four Noble Truths, the foundation of my teachings. I knew that many would seek to understand this path, and so I set out to share my experience with others. I traveled across the land, speaking to kings and commoners alike, teaching them that true peace comes from within, not from external wealth or status. People were drawn to my message because it was simple and clear. Life is impermanent, and we can find liberation by practicing mindfulness, compassion, and understanding. As I spoke, I often reminded my followers that enlightenment was not something that could be obtained through rituals or blind faith. Rather, it is achieved through personal effort, through the cultivation of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. I urged my disciples to walk the middle path, neither indulging in excess nor depriving themselves unnecessarily. Balance was the key to inner peace and the cessation of suffering. Even in my final years, I remained steadfast in my mission to help others find the path to freedom. It was in my last sermon that I gave my final teaching. All things that are born must die. Strive on with diligence. These words became the legacy I left behind. While my physical form passed away, my teachings continued to guide countless individuals toward awakening. My life was a testament to the potential for transformation within each person, regardless of their origins. The message I imparted was not just a spiritual teaching, but a call to action. It was a challenge to each individual to examine their own desires, attachments, and fears, to recognize the impermanence of all things, and to strive for a life of compassion, wisdom, and serenity. Through this practice, we come closer to realizing our true nature, free from the illusions that bind us.